Welcome to Earthtide Studios. I'm Zach Knight, and in today's video, we're going to be running through some tips to help you with your dense productions. Dense productions can be really challenging to get your head around what's going on with the production, what instrument's doing what, how it's going to sound in the mix, how it's going to translate for you in different streaming services, people listening through it different headphones, and all those kind of things. There's a lot that goes into creating a song that has so many different tracks and so many different things going on. So this video, I'm going to be running through the track Holding On by the band Buried in Silence. This is a track that I produced at the end of 2019, and I'm really happy to share this with you. This band is a stellar band that's got some super talent, and there's a lot of really cool and interesting elements that we're going to run through in this video. We also have a free vocal production course that teaches you the basics of recording, editing, and mixing your vocals. If you want that, just click the link below. But for now, let's get dense. We're here in Cubase, and we're going to be looking at the track Holding On by the band Buried in Silence. And as you heard from the preview, this is a really dense production. I mean, if we're scrolling down here, we're looking at over 200 tracks here in the session. That's a lot of stuff, and there is a lot of different things fighting for space within the scope of this mix. So it's really important when you're dealing with a dense production to give everything its own place in the composition of the song. So we're going to have a listen to the way that the bridge builds into the last chorus here for the song, and have a listen to how every different piece of the production has its own place to create this big giant crescendo, and things sound still kind of chill but also intense at the same time when the aggressive vocals come in. So you can hear that it starts off really low, and then everything builds until it gets to that big crescendo of the line "On My Memory" before the chorus kicks in. There's a couple of different cool things that I've done in the production to help that really have that build. Probably the most obvious thing, just before the start of the chorus, I have the reversed vocal here, which is basically just doing this, and we'll listen to that on its own. So we're going to listen to that now with all of the rest of the vocals coming in. And you'll note that these group vocals here saying the line "On My Memory" come in super intense on their own, and all of the rest of the music kind of drops out a bit. Definitely creating a lot of dynamic, and it's a really kind of cool production technique to have this reverse vocal come in, and it actually doesn't stop at the start of the "On My Memory." It continues over and still builds until it hits that last impact point there. I've also got another reverse impact happening here, and we've got a sub drop and a impacty kind of sound hitting in at the same time, creating swells and dynamics and bringing things in a heavy way, which is nice contrast to this beautiful piano sound that we've got going on here for the rest of the bridge. So I'd say the first and most important thing would be dealing with your session management. As you can see, scrolling through, you've got tons and tons of tracks. That's not even every single thing open. There's so many different things going on, and getting your head around all of that stuff can be really challenging. We're going to close up what I've got going on here, all of these different folders, and have a look at where I'm breaking things down. This is everything with all the different folders collapsed. And as you can see, having 200 tracks fitting together together within the scope of all of these different things here, it looks far less intimidating now. I've got a marker track up here, and then I've got a tempo track up here, which is very useful. Different tempo markers for all the different adjustments in the session. Some of the songs, like this one over here, have multiple different tempos, as does this one here as well. So it's quite useful to have a tempo track up there as well. I then have a reference bus here. This is actually a bus that's allowing me to put in reference tracks in here that I can use to help listen to versus what I've got going on in the mix. Or in this particular case, I actually have a whole bunch of different prints of mix that I put in here to listen versus the mix session as well. So if I've done a revision and I've done that mix, then I want to listen to that versus what I'm currently working on right now. The band's made a suggestion to say, we want the snare to be brighter in this section. I want to actually be able to hear that difference in real time. So quite useful to have that set up there. And then we move further along and we actually have a look at all the different folders that I've got here, superseding and controlling all of what's going on in the mix. And if we open them up, we'll have a look at how things are working inside them. So drums are actually pretty straightforward. I've got all of the different drum tracks that are all sitting in here, and I've actually got all of them going through to these different buses here, and then they're all sitting inside the drum folder there. I'll run through what I'm doing in the busing in a minute, but for now you can see that's how we've got the folder there for the drums. The bass is the same thing, and then the synths are also the same thing as well. So we're just keeping those kind of pretty similar, as is the effects bus also. But things get a little bit more different when it comes to the guitars and the vocals. So right here we can see that there's actually a couple of different folders inside the guitar folder here as well. Got rhythm guitars, lead guitars, and clean guitars. And the reason I've got that is some tracks, for instance, don't have any lead guitar. Some tracks don't have any clean guitar. All of the tracks in this particular session do have rhythm guitars, but there's a very good chance that you might not. So it's kind of useful to be able to have those different folders there to be able to split in between them. You open all of that up, it gets really intimidating. You know, you've got all these different tracks here coming out of just the guitar folder. Close it up, a lot easier to see. So following on from that, we're going to have a look at some of the different buses that I've got going on here. I have my stereo out at the very final end here, but I actually have a master bus before then. Basically, so this master here is being routed through to the stereo out, but I'm actually printing off this master bus here, just in case if for whatever reason, if I want to make any further adjustments down the line in the signal chain, I have that option there on the stereo bus there. And then I actually have this 2 bus here. This is actually my stereo bus. So this is where the majority of the processing that I'm doing on my stereo bus is happening, simply because I want to be able to have a lot of control when it comes to all of the processing going on here, and then having this master bus here available for any volume automation that I need to have for like fade outs and things. I don't want to have anything going on with this bus here. That's why I have this 2 bus here being sent through to the master bus. From there, I have a bus for every different instrument. So we've got a drum bus here, which is being sent to the 2 bus. We also have a bass bus here, which is being sent to the 2 bus as well. We have a guitar bus here, which is being sent to the 2 bus. A vocal bus here as well, being sent to the 2 bus. A synth bus, and we also have an effects bus as well. And then if you break down inside each one of these folders here as well, we can see I've got a bunch of different things going on here for the drums. So I have a kick bus, snare, toms, rooms, overheads, snare room, kick room, some different reverbs, a parallel compression bus here as well. And they're all basically being sent through to the drum bus here. And then the varying different tracks are being sent to the relevant buses as well. So if I want to make adjustments to the kick, I only have to worry about doing some automation or adjustments through to this bus here. I don't have to worry about the individual tracks. The whole point that you'll find with dense production is you want to give yourself the least amount of things you have to tweak when you're looking at dealing with the song. So that's why I've got all these different buses here controlling the main elements of the drum mix there. In terms of the guitar bus here, I have a bus for all of these different folders. So I have one here for the rhythms, and I actually also have an octave guitar bus here as well, which is being sent through to the guitar bus simply because I want to treat them slightly differently. looking at the lead guitars, I have a lead bus here, and I actually have some stereo lead buses here just so that I can do processing on the stereo leads themselves, and then they all get sent through to the lead guitar bus there as well. The cleans, there's just a clean guitar bus on there as well. You know, as you can see, the trend continues. It's all just about giving yourself the option of having a smaller amount of things that you need to adjust when you're dealing with the production, so you can do all of your automation and adjustments on those individual buses there. And with the vocals, it's pretty much exactly the same thing as it is with the guitars. We've got a scream vocal bus there, a clean vocal bus here, and one for my backings as well, a background vocal bus, there's a chant bus here, and then a group vocal bus there as well. And the same is true for the synths. There's just a synth bus there. And then with these different effects here, I have all the different effects going through to the effects bus. And then I have a couple of different tracks here where I'm actually printing things 100% wet, and they're actually being sent through to that effects end there as well. There's a lot of different information to be unpacked from that, and certainly if you do want to, say for instance, get a mix template or a production template from me on the way that I deal with these dense productions here, that's definitely something that I can do. With the way that the song is and how big that last chorus is, you would think that the song itself couldn't necessarily get even bigger. However, we've managed to pull that off in this song here, and it's kind of a nice contrast to hear the difference between what this last chorus sounds like versus this kind of post-chorus outro section. Let's have a quick listen. It really, really goes that next level higher. There's obviously a lot of different things going on here. We've got these really cool lead guitars that come in for kind of the first time pushing in the song there. And we've got all of these really awesome different crescendo things happening here with this piano that plays along, as well as these violins that come in, and there's some choir that goes on as well. Each different element adding these different vibes to the song. It's really kind of cool building it up as we go. So it's important to think when you're creating a production of this size and you're thinking, okay, I want to make it as big as possible. What's making this big is changes in the dynamics, changes in the chords, giving different things support by other layers. You know, we've got these guitars that are going on over here. You know, the rhythm guitars are just pushing on over across the whole section here, you know, from the start of that last chorus all the way to the end of the song. We've got octaves that come in, disappear, and then change. We've got lead guitars that only appear for this section here. Obviously, we've got quite a dramatic change with what's going on with the synths here. You know, we've got violin and cello and a different kind of piano sound going on for this section here. I mean, if you just have a quick listen to what the synths sound like on their own, we'll get rid of those sub drops. I mean, it's super dreamy. And then you come in here for this next section here. It's got a really like hopeful, uplifting kind of tone to it. It's very different, you know. We'll have a listen to what it sounds like when the rest of the strings come in. And at the same time, we know we've got these lead guitars that are going on over here, and they're mimicking what's going on. So it's important to make sure that you have production elements that complement each other when you're trying to create these huge, big, massive sections. I can definitely create a video where I will actually break down all the different elements going on in this song. And if that's something that you want, let me know. Other than that, though, I think we're just going to call it there on the dense production tips. There's so much that I could go into with this song, but I feel like we're going to finish it there.
So there you go. Just a few tips for you to be able to help yourself get a bit more control over your big, dense productions. I've only managed to scratch the surface in this video, and there's a lot more that I can go into. So if there's anything inside these productions that you want to hear, throw a comment below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these tutorials. If you want to level up your vocals, don't forget about our free vocal production course. But for now, take it easy.